Well, hello and welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Stephanie Michele Sweigart. I'm a licensed and practicing school-based SLP out in Los Angeles, California, and my pronouns are she, her. We are so happy to have you here on our SpeechTherapyPD.com YouTube channel. This is an exciting day. I am thrilled to introduce Faye Murray, who is the brilliant mind behind a new course on SpeechTherapyPD.com. She really is. We've been talking a little bit, and I just sense that she is breaking ground for SLPs and just across the US by taking a deeper dive into the topic of Spanish phonology. So I'm looking forward to this episode. Everybody, let's dive in. Subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell, and let's learn together with Faye. Hello, Faye. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, and thank you for taking time out of your busy day, because I know you're an associate clinical professor in the Communication Sciences and Disorders Department at Northern Arizona University. Is that right?
I am. I'm still here.
You're still there. You're teaching graduate courses and you're supervising clinical practicums, right? And there's also a clinic bilingual evaluation team.
Yes. And so that's something I'm continuing to do. I'm involved with other, I'm in a SIG-14 associate coordinator, which is really a lot of fun. But primarily my job is to supervise student clinicians. And I'm hoping every semester I get some bilingual students so that we can use their skills and strengthen their knowledge. So I do run a bilingual evaluation team, and we also do bilingual therapy in our clinic, and I do other things. I have a Parkinson choir, a choir with neurological impairments. We're not singing in Spanish yet, but hopefully that comes in the future.
You were saying this is a choir?
It's a choir, yeah. We sing like songs from the 60s, sometimes even the 50s and the 80s, and just have a good time. And they're individuals with neurological impairments, and so they're working on their speech. So.
Wow. So are you going to close us out with a song at the end of this episode, or what?
Maybe.
All right. I know that you are also the author of a course on SpeechTherapyPD.com. If you want to share with everybody the name of your first ever Spanish course.
Yes, it's called Introducción a la Fonología del Español y los trastornos de los sonidos del habla. It's quite a mouthful, and it pretty much just means Introduction to Spanish Phonology and Speech Sound Disorders, and the speech sound disorders. That's pretty much it. So I'm really excited about this course because it is my first one. There are a lot of people out there doing, some people that are out there doing these courses in Spanish, but it's my first time, and I'm nervous, but I'm also it's an exciting nervousness, I suppose.
That's awesome. So for everybody who's listening about this course, I'm wondering, our golden question we have for you really is, what are 3 key insights or facts that you believe participants are really going to gain from your course, specifically focusing on addressing basic Spanish phonology and typical and atypical development of speech sounds in Spanish for bilinguals?
Well, that's pretty much it. So this is just a crash course. Many of us who are bilingual, did not have any kind of instruction in Spanish phonology. This is specific to Spanish. So we didn't have that. Our coursework was all in English. Now some of the programs have bilingual extensions and bilingual programs, but many of us who have been practicing, and even most of us have gone to programs, do not have that basic knowledge. And so I'm going to do this in Spanish. There's going to be maybe some English in there, but hopefully you'll get some idea of what the Spanish phonology looks like. What are the sounds that we have in common? What are the sounds that with English, and what are the sounds that we don't have in common with English? What are some of those IPA symbols that we use? Hopefully we'll have some practice in transcribing during this session. We're also going to talk about what are some typical speech sound differences that you might hear in children, not only in second language learners that might be influenced by the English into Spanish, but also some atypical speech sound disorders. And so we're going to talk about typical, atypical, we're going to talk about the phonology, and we might also delve into some phonological processes and in what they're called, and how to work with them in speech therapy. So there's going to be instruction on the phonology, there's going to be instructions on typical and atypical, and then we're going to be also looking at phonological processes and how to address them and in what order and such in speech therapy. So it's a crash course, and hopefully that will catapult people to want to learn more, but it will get you started. It'll give you hopefully more confidence on how to do this with your Spanish speaking population. Always looking at all the dialects as well. So we'll take into consideration the different Spanish dialects from all the Hispanic in countries around South and Central America, Northern America, and also in Spain. So we'll talk about dialects as well.
Yeah, and that's a big one. That shows up in my family because my daughter's father, my partner, he was born in Colombia, so his mother speaks one type of Spanish, and then he was lived in Argentina, and his grandfather's Argentine, and that's totally a different because they have different words or different ways that they pronounce or using
Right.
and and now my daughter, who is 8, she's in a bilingual Spanish immersion, or she's in a Spanish immersion program in her school district. So she's learning that Spanish and getting it from a teacher that is from I believe Mexico. So we have all these different dialects, and I start to learn about that in how they're all speaking with each other. And here I am trying to learn, like, which one should I use? Which one should I
We all have our basic. It's just like the newscasters here in the United States, right? They speak that mainstream kind of middle of the road. And some of them actually take accent reduction therapy and such to get rid of whatever their Midwestern or their New York accent. So it's very similar. So in Latin American countries, for the most part, we can all understand each other because Spanish, is the basic phonology, basic sentence structure and stuff like that. But there are differences, and even within countries.